board meeting to order. Take a roll call. Do you want to just start on one end and go down our names? Is that what you want?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. John Cotwoods.
Jeff Breedlove.
Scott Long.
I'm in line.
Go ahead.
Chris Watson.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag.
to the flag
To the republic. Which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so into our ordinances, we do need a chairman for this board. Do you have any nominations or interest for that position?
I move that we renominate John for chairman.
There's second nomination.
Yeah, well, it's a
Second.
Yeah.
I'm willing to have somebody else do it if it's there's the interest there. So. Not I've been doing it for a long time, so if somebody else is wanting to do it, I'm not going to stand in your way.
Okay, all four? Say
Aye.
A. Okay, any against? All right, you're the chairman, if you'd like to continue on with the meeting.
So, anything else on organization and board we need to address? That's it.
Nope, that was it.
We have our 5 members. I think there's somebody that's coming up for the stew this year.
We do have two, Chris and
Me.
you. Okay, and you're both willing to stay on the board, so we'll have the mayor reappoint at this upcoming meeting.
Next call.
Yep, on Monday night.
Thank you guys for agreeing to do that again. Is it okay to detour just 1 second from the agenda? We did have Arbor Day. This is my first year, but I can never remember not doing it. So
Let's go under as may arise, if you don't mind. Then we'll just stick, otherwise we
Oh, there is as may arise.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
we'll do an as may arise on today.
All right, so let's go to review the tree inventory RFQ. City staff,
Yes, yep,
turn it over to the city staff.
So, chose to do a request for qualifications on this one. We'd like to be able to look at, with the scope of this project, we're looking at, doing at least $300,000 a year over the next 3 to 5 years to take down trees. We're looking at anywhere from a $1.2 to $1.8 million tree project. So we're thinking we're probably going to get a whole lot more interest than our normal companies who bid. So we'd like to be able to take the opportunity to look at qualifications, gather information from other places where they've worked. That way we know when they come in here, because $300,000 worth of trees is still, it's a lot of trees. So we want to make sure that if we're going to budget that much money to take trees down, they're going to come down every year. It's not a, well, we didn't get these done this year, so now these are the trees that we have that need to come down that are priority. I've spoken to Jim about these, and if we don't start getting them down, we're going to start losing large limbs, and so that's going to cause potential, accidents with if they fall on people or property or tree or vehicles, and so we've really got to take this seriously with this going. So with this inventory, the goal is to have someone come in, get in here, go around town, get these done so that we can figure out what's priority, so we can hopefully get some of these trees down this year. The goal is to get the inventory done very quickly, so we can put out another RFQ for someone to come in and actually cut them down.
What's the going rate per tree?
Per
Take it
tree,
down? Was it about $2,000?
Yeah, but it
Uh,
really kind of depends on how many we're taking down at a time.
Oh.
We've noticed like the more money that we have available, the less it costs per tree.
Okay,
So,
And we're they're the same area and that, yeah,
mhm.
okay.
Right now, I think it's costing us, like, we did a $48,000 tree project this past year. And I think we were right around $1,500 to $2,500 a tree. It just kind of depends on how difficult the tree was to get down. If it was near something that they had to, be more careful. It's expensive, yeah. Oh, gotcha. It's, yeah,
A lot of Marlboro trees.
yes. The older ash trees are just huge.
There's an
And-
impact on the cost per tree is the
Yeah.
size of the tree.
Mhm. And we're only looking at trees that are in the city rights of way or on city property, not in utility easements. So this is just in road right of way. Homeowners are responsible for the trees in the utility easements that are on their property.
So it's the street trees, so it's the right of way
Yep,
trees.
it's the street
Right.
trees.
Trees, I know they
So
have
Earl has,
ordinance, Earl does his own deal with the park trees. right?
and he's been taking those down for years. So I think he said that he has more. Does that sound right? He was in here talking the other day.
Where, I don't know what.
Yeah. There's no one over-
There's several that park go in there too.
They've done several of them,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, he gets the
That's
trim grant every year, and they come in and take down about $40,000 worth of trees down. So I know that I'm gonna have to talk to Earl to see if this is gonna play into any of that. But I know that he's already got plans to apply for the trim again this year. So when we go to do the inventory, the park trees will be in inventory, just because that is city property. So
I think he's done an inventory before, for the park trees.
I don't know
I
that.
think he told me
He
that.
hadn't told me that. No.
Hey, Tara,
Yep.
I do believe that it's when he first started, so that's probably been, and worked with a guy that came in and I believe has it scaled out format, like what they're taking out.
Okay. That is good information.
I'm pretty sure, he told me that a few years ago, the trim grant would do the inventory,
Very good.
and that he had done that for the parks.
We don't have to add that to it. But yeah, I was just gonna get Harold's input on this. If you think that it's comprehensive enough, if you see something in there that should not be in there or should be added. I do plan to get this out, as soon as I get your input back. Oh, yep, we're gonna talk about that, I think, next.
You're asking about the RFQ, right?
Yep, this is the RFQ right now.
Do you have any? RFQ? Wasn't in your packet?
It's right there.
Okay.
Yep,
Hold on.
starts on.
You put this out in the card, or you mail it out to, will it do this?
It's gonna be in the Guard. I don't know that the entire RFQ will be in the Guard, but, the,
Contact the city for the entire RFQ,
Yes,
something like that.
basically, so probably the introduction, possibly the scope, and then how to access it. If they want, they can email us, come up here, go and,
And you probably have
well, I will. I haven't posted it yet. You guys have any comments or suggested edits?
the ones that's connected with for trees looking at city owned property, you wanna say other than parks, or is that? We already have the parks. Already done, I don't know. Is your way to
Okay.
under one? Conducting all city owned property and rights away. Is that a big part?
I would probably keep that in there just in case something has changed with Earl's inventory. We can kind of keep that on there to see what it does. He's got another area that he would like to look at.
Okay.
I don't have any other comments, I just,
Okay.
that's something we talked about a while ago, I didn't know if you, if you wanted to do it, so.
Yeah, and I'm gonna double check with Earl on that just to make sure he's still is current.
Anybody else have? Okay.
Looks pretty comprehensive.
Would you like us
Okay.
to take a vote on that?
Yes, please.
All in favor of approving the RFQ, to be advertised, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed, no. Next item on our agenda is to review the tree list. So now we're getting to what you were talking about. Look, 1986 list, there's two, trees, green ash and white ash. I'm assuming we don't want those on there, but I don't know if even sure what the difference is between green ash and white ash and which one's for is it's the green ash, but I don't know much about white ash.
They're very similar, white ash. The easiest way to tell is white ash will have more of an upright growth habit and turns yellow in the fall. And the green ash has a broader crown and turns purple.
Purple, yeah, that's the one I'm working on.
Oh, I have white ash in my yard then, and they are all dead. And the ones that have shed their bark, I can see the tunneling from the ash borer in the woods. So I would say that those are affected by them.
So we're looking at this, list under large trees, small trees, and evergreen trees, right?
Mhm.
That's what we're,
Yes.
and so under large trees, 1 and 2, where the green ash and white ash, we can do,
Remove
as
those.
far as changing the list, we wanna take those off, I said.
Yes. Yeah.
And then under small trees, it has brown hair, and, that's a big effort statewide by the
Mhm.
Department
To
of
remove.
Conservation to remove, to not have Bradford bears. In fact, they're actually offering you to give you a replacement. Give you money for that. I don't know if you guys seen that Department of
Oh, yeah.
Conservation.
This is
So-
the last year for that
I believe
program?
so.
Okay.
So, but anyway, yeah, I don't believe we want to have Bradford on it, correct?
Correct.
The other ones, I didn't see any problems with the other ones, but I'd be interested in hearing other people's comments. Large trees, there's bald cypress, sweet gum, which I assume that's, sweet gum is along with the gum balls.
Yeah, like whatever.
Some people don't like the gum balls, but it's a big
With
issue.
bulb cypress around streets that, like, those are an issue. They have what's called knees that come up.
Right,
That
they
would
do,
be
yeah.
bust sidewalks and bust.
We have them in the parks, but I don't think we've planted too many along the trees. There's a few of them, like over here by the railroad.
Columbia. That's the last thing we deal with.
The knees, causing sidewalk problems.
Which tree is that?
The bulb
Bald
cypress.
cypress.
Should we look at,
We put a lot of them in the parks and they've been really good for you for that.
They're virtually, you can't. I mean,
I can see where it could be an issue in some circumstances with sidewalks.
well, that's a large tree and so in section 9, it says that large trees have to be planted 4 feet from a sidewalk. Is that far enough for the bald cypress?
No,
Cypress would always an issue. Everywhere under it can't be.
Okay. Would there be,
We put a restriction for park plantings, but just not along sidewalks and streets.
to see where we can get that maybe.
So you wanna add swamp oak,
Won't let it.
white oak to that?
We already have several in parks and around
Okay.
town already.
You can add that to the, approve the rest of it.
Under large trees,
White oak.
under large trees, right?
Yeah,
In the Japanese alcovas had a lot of good luck in Columbia.
We have a couple of those in City Square.
What's that?
Japanese alcova,
Japanese alcova
alcova, Z,
with a Z? Okay. Is that a large or small?
yeah, it gets up to 80.
So it's a large tree.
Going on down the list, Golden Rain,
That ought to be a small tree, really.
yeah, Golden Rain doesn't seem like a large tree to me. The ones I've seen like down the Capitol are like a medium-sized tree.
Okay.
Next one's thornless, honey locust, little leaf linden, Norway maple, red maple, northern red oak, pin oak, sugar maple, and then we've just had, comments about adding swamp white.
We had talked about disease-resistant elms, getting them added. What does the board think of that?
Those have been planted, in the square and, you planted them out there at school too, right? Disease resistant elms,
Disease resistant American.
American elm. So we'd add those to the large trees.
I think that's good, yeah. Not that it's a big issue, but there's a whole bunch of misspelling in your last name.
We can look that up.
so is this taking the same thing?
that's interesting, they have all those, names, white names. Small trees, we have flowering crab, green hawthorn, two types of hawthorn, brown hawthorn, a Washington hawthorn, 3 hawthorns, red bud and pear. Obviously, there's a lot of red buds in town. We just talked about moving golden rain over to small trees. Any comments on those?
I think we should have dogwood on the small tree list. I mean,
Stick green, yeah, I agree. Seems like it's a hard one to get
It
to
is.
sometimes.
we should try.
Stick tree, yeah. And evergreen trees, they have Austrian pine, white pine, and Norway spruce. Which is the one that has the pine problem,
I,
yeah, it's got,
well, we should add short leaf. Short leaf.
Yeah, that's a better.
The only data.
add short leaf pine.
We've already got them on super project.
Yeah, the native tree, yeah.
Yeah, the white pine, we're at the very bottom of it. Gets any warmer, they'll just die.
So what you're looking for, if we're going over 3 lists?
Do you have any other small trees that you'd wanna add? As we're going back and replanting trees, we're wanting to be very responsible about it and only plant like a percentage of each tree, that way hopefully 100
Have
years
some
from now.
diversity,
we're not
yeah.
gonna- Yeah.
Instead of all ash trees, have some diversity.
Yes, yes. So, if we have a good variety to choose from, then
Right.
we're gonna be able to diversify them, even more, so.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have any thoughts on what to add before the meeting on Monday, just shoot me an email, and we can look at possibly getting those added. Or the group. We can kind of go over that, but I think this is a good list so far.
I would add, to the small tree list, hammer maple.
Hammer?
I'm just thinking the same thing, Jim.
I'm just wandering around town in my mind, what has done well and what. And here's one by the library, it's pretty decent.
Was it what, maple?
Hammer, A-M-U-R.
That is not the way I spelled
You're
it.
saying hammer.
It's an unusual color.
And that's small.
Blows it by.
That's small.
Are there any other small trees in town that are not on this list that you guys are fine with?
Earl has added some, the fringe trees, the
Fringe?
square fringe. They're blooming right now.
Oh, really? I'm not familiar with that tree. Trying to start?
Yeah, it's another native that probably top out at 12 feet, 12 to 15.
Fringe, like, fringe of fabric or something like that, but it's spelled fringe?
Fringe,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
Fringe pine.
Oh, it's just
fringe.
Okay.
We have a silky dogwood in our yard that Ruth got when we were down with our granddaughter to the native thing in the spring by Jeff City, or the place is called. It's growing. I don't think they get very big. A place where something small could be.
What tree was that?
It's a silky dogwood.
The silky dogwood?
Little blooms and it doesn't get that big.
I think so.
So that's reviewing the tree list. So that's something, look to change the ordinance on that.
Mhm.
We need to vote on that.
Yes.
So.
Recommend to the Board of Aldermen to accept this recommended list of trees.
I move that we, apply the board, of Alderman, to accept the, amended tree list.
Second. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Okay, thank you. The next item on our agenda is discussion for a plan for removal of dead trees and replanting of new trees.
Matthew, do you have anything you want to say to start us off on that?
Sorry, I can barely hear what you're saying.
Oh, gotcha. We're starting the part of the agenda where we're going to discuss our plan for removal of dead trees and replanting of new trees.
No, I'd say let's just hear their ideas and then we can settle on something and get
Okay. All right.
So, I mean, you kind of started the discussion already a little earlier with the RFQ that we got. RFQ to get the inventory, and then you were talking about over 3 years, and you're mentioning some dollar per years, and doing so much each year over the next 3 to 5 years as that kind of the starting point.
That is the starting point. So the way that we're paying for these trees to come down is, for this first year at least, we've got half of it coming out of the general fund, half of it coming out of the electric fund, because a lot of these trees are around our electric lines. So as we get the inventory, we'll know more on where these trees are at and which ones, that way we can divide the expenses out more equally, if need be. Because right now I don't know if half the trees that are under, it would be really funny if it ended up 50-50, but I highly doubt it. So I just need to know how that lands. But, so we've got about $350,000, budgeted for this year, and that's for inventory and removal of as many trees as that will take down.
That's already been approved by the city.
Yeah. Yep, that budget has been approved as of April 1. We also have, I have ran through a lot of numbers with the budget, so forgive me. I do not remember what I budgeted for the electric department. tree removal project. I'm wanting to say it's another $25,000 to $30,000 for line clearance and more trees around their utilities. So lots of trees are coming down.
I believe that 25,000 is the.
Was it 25? Thank you.
So would the electric department prioritize their own as far as right of ways and stuff like that?
So
Or would that be part of your inventory?
no. So we would probably use the inventory for the purpose of that. But again, we're not going, well, probably not actually, because we're not going to be inventorying any trees that are in the utility easement.
That's what I was thinking.
Who's doing the inventory?
We don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
So, after tonight, since you guys approved this and don't have any edits, probably tomorrow, I'm going to send this to the paper. Since the date of the paper is now published on Fridays and it's switched, so, it won't be in this Friday's, it'll be in the following Friday's paper.
Will it be bidded out?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll leave it open for, I'm probably gonna do 30 days.
So you left the, due date for getting submissions blank. Do you have a time frame in mind?
Well, I had to wait until this got, in front of you guys, and then I'm gonna leave it open for 30 days. So once it's posted, which would be, I'm probably gonna do the date that it goes in the paper. So it'll be 30 days from next Friday. That will close that process, the inventory.
Does anybody have suggestions on other places we should advertise that, post it, individuals?
We can send this
Get it
out
out
to
to-
individuals if you all want us to send it to certain.
People who do that?
I mean, there's arborists around that do tree inventories, but I don't know.
I do plan to put it on Facebook, so if you guys
I was
see it
gonna
and
say
want to
social media.
share it out, the more it's shared, obviously, the more people are gonna see it. We're probably,
Have a list, just that we have accumulated over the years that any tree work that we get, that we blast that to the information email. So it does reach out, say probably to 10 to 15 companies in the surrounding.
Be interested.
There's somebody that Earl used in the past, few years
yes,
ago.
and I do
so
have
that
it.
This
Mhm.
would be a possibility to do this one also.
I think Ann sent me a name.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, good.
I can find that email and get that.
I was gonna say, and Koenig would be another good resource. Used to do it for us.
Any other ideas or, I guess, how best to, because we're gonna have, so if we do have 900 trees we gotta take down, any of you guys have a good idea on how to get rid of stumps without spending another $1 million having them ground out? So according to our ordinance, it states that, street trees have to be cut off at ground level. It doesn't state anything about grinding them, but it's gonna look pretty crappy if we've got all these tree stumps all over the place and probably take forever to regrow stuff over it.
Well, this is just my opinion, but stump grinding, although it does get the stump down below the soil surface, it continues to decompose for years. And then you wind up with divots for years. Burnt mine out, but that was a time-consuming thing in order to monitor it and be there. There is some methods of speeding up the decomposition of those stumps. It involves drilling holes in there and adding nitrogen fertilizer to it, which brings the carbon nitrogen ratio more to a 50-50, and then speeds the decomposition.
Okay.
It doesn't, obviously it's not gonna cost you much, but there's not gonna be a good way to do it. I mean, grinding, yeah, if you can grind them out and then you're still left with stuff below. Because you can't plant back there,
Right.
regardless of how deep they get them ground out, it's still a tough location to try to replant. I'm not saying replanting is our goal here, I mean, we're here to mitigate a hazard. I wouldn't include stump grinding in any of the costs.
Yeah, we're not sure how we're gonna tackle that yet. The biggest thing right now is to get, obviously the worst ones down, but, the stumps are definitely gonna be part of all this. I hadn't thought about, Matthew, did you hear what Jim Lee was saying about, drilling holes in the stump and putting nitrogen fertilizer down it to aid in, decomp?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Did it, was he just saying that, or was he volunteering his time?
I intentionally left it vague.
No, that's good information, cause I didn't know that would even be an option, cause if we could get them cut off at ground level and do something like that, that's obviously gonna save us a lot of time, because it's gonna, if we don't hire it out, it's going to take a city employee, I mean,
Well,
we
no
figured-
offense, but your stump grinder is terrible.
oh, we know, there's no offense taken there whatsoever. The one that was bought was, not a good option.
Well, like Jim was saying, you've got, once all the roof's way out there are grinded, and then the stump's completely down below ground level, you can add soil back, but that's gonna keep settling and sinking over a period of time. Now, over the years, that's added job security for me with some of my good customers. That I've gotta continue to come back and add more soil and compact it but yeah, it's a long process to completely get that ground back to where you can actually mow it really reliably and everything's ongoing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, so that'll be, so doing the drilling the holes and putting fertilizer in it, does that help with the divot problem at all?
No, it just gets your divot quick.
Gotcha, okay. So I'll let,
Taking years and years, it may be less number of years it takes.
okay,
to get close.
so we'll
Well,
let
you
Jimmy
did-
know.
if you,
that'll
like-
be-
If you just had the stump and you did nothing to it, it's still gonna be there 5 years from now.
Mhm.
It's gonna be squishy and soggy and messy. The process of making them go quicker, you might cut that down to 3. So it's quicker, but it's still a slow decomposition process.
So the inventory is going to, I assume we're hoping they're gonna identify the most hazardous trees that need to be like prioritized and targeted first, that'll be like the first years. Or hopefully be in the first years as much as possible, is that like a goal, right?
Yes,
For ones that could actually hazard properties or life.
mhm. Yeah, those will be the first
Changes.
ones. At first, we had thought about doing it by zone, but that doesn't really make sense because,
Right. I mean, the easiest way, probably for bidding it out, targeting an area and doing it all at once would be a zone, but, you know, the purpose here is to mitigate your. You've gotta prioritize the most hazardous trees first.
mhm.
I would think if you went around and picked your 30 worst trees, based on their condition, any sort of targets around them, sports houses or whatever, playgrounds. Prioritize those, and this is gonna come from your inventory anyway. But then, because of your tree trimmers, you might wanna catch, if there's a couple close by that they can be, not have to move vehicles, you could catch a few around those high priority ones too, that would be efficient for your trimmers.
Good idea.
But that's all gonna come from your
Yeah, we're real curious to get that back and see what story that's gonna tell.
Hey, Tara.
Yep.
Hey, so, just listening to Jim. What if we went down the road using the zone idea, but maybe use a percentage of that, what if we, kind of use both systems with a, pick a zone that has the most that possibility. Does anybody have any ideas on side with that?
I think that's a good idea.
Mhm.
I think also what we could do is have this board meet, once the inventory is completed and, kind of have a plan of attack from that. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, it kind of makes sense to me again.
Because I think my worry is that we'll have the worst of the hazardous trees will be more than the initial $300,000 that we have. So if we have a plan where we want to do, like what you said, that may not work the first year. Because if we need, like if we've got, $400,000 worth of like really bad hazardous trees that should not stay up another year, then I think that all the money should go to those trees. But we can. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping we're going to be able to get like the really bad ones down before we start having big problems. So. Want to get them down. If we could drum up about $1.5 million right off the bat, it'd be wonderful.
So like a chance, company has all these like, things for tree trimming for utilities and just out there, tree trimmers.
That would be great.
I'm amazed that I had a lady stop by the other day, and she had no idea that the ash trees were done.
If you're not a tree person and you just look at life just through the lens of your daily life and you don't pay attention, you don't notice it. Driving through town last summer was eye-opening to me because all of a sudden I could only see the ash trees, and it floored me. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, some of the tree lines where they're really packed in there and some of these properties is just, there's a lot of them.
We've had a lot of the trees for several years now, the branches died. Seems like just the last year or two, they just all completely, the whole trees died. It's pretty.
Actually, if we, it's kind of funny to think, if we wouldn't have discouraged all the tree chopping, we could have saved ourselves a lot of money.
But we have been prepping out where the city landfill's at. Last summer, burnt off a lot of what was in there. We had been trying to.
They still have that big area back out of
Yes.
the landfill where the trees go into, in
Yes.
the far corner there.
Mhm.
Still using that? Okay.
Yep. So we got all that burnt up last year because we knew we were gonna be filling it up this year, but that's where most of the trees will be going, so, even that is gonna be quite the chore to figure out how we're gonna get rid of all these trees. We're also going to open up a program because ash is a good burning wood. So if any of it comes in that could possibly be used in the wood stove, we're gonna allow people to come out and, cut the wood in manageable pieces, load it up and take it away, cause we're gonna have so much.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
I know a couple
Yeah.
people might be interested in that.
Yeah,
They
we
recommend
cleaned out
keeping
a lot
it
of-
local, right, so, I mean, they were, I don't know if they still recommend that or not. They used to say.
Well, the cat's kinda out of the bag at this point, they didn't want you moving
Probably, spread it, but
over the
it's,
ground, but it's all over the state.
yeah. You'd have to go a long ways from here to get outside of where it's.
But even the little, I just learned this the other day, the little firewood bundles that they're selling at the stores. And most of that's ash, it's that economy guy cutting down. He has to take those and get them kiln dry in order to kill the pest, in order to bundle it up like that and sell it.
Wow.
Because those get picked up, well, we're going camping, so
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
some firewood.
Was the biggest fear, they were saying, people taking firewood to camping out in, Kansas and, farther west, we weren't far west yet. But here, using it here,
Now,
Yeah, no.
wood stoves here locally, yeah. I can't see
Right.
where there's any issue with that.
Yeah, there's gonna be local firewood.
It's really good firewood.
In
too.
abundance.
It's very good.
So we'll be, once all this starts, we'll, be putting that out to educate the public, to let them know that we're gonna have this from the get-go. That way, if people have a plan for it, as soon as it starts hitting the tree area, they'll hopefully start going out, because I don't think that we can burn fast enough to keep up with it once it starts coming down. So we've gotta have a place to take it off, so. See how it goes. Should be fun.
Next time on the agenda is grant opportunities, other than free grants, what other
So,
grant opportunities?
let me pull this up. Recently had to work with, Midmo RPC on, the FEMA document. If the city wants any, FEMA emergency funds, in the case that, the governor were to ever state that, issue a state of emergency in our area, in order for us to be able to receive those funds, we have to participate in this, survey and, process. So just still in the process, but we're wrapping up. Everything's turned in and done. Sorry, sign into this.
Minimum RPC, I don't know what that is.
Sorry, that is the Regional Planning Committee.
Oh, regional plan.
Commission. So, they sent me, I was telling them about our, tree woes, and she sent me some information on 3 or 4 grants. One of them is the Trim Grant. Another one is a Thriving Communities Grant.
You spoke with anybody starting grants,
Mm-mm.
about 3 years ago, they did. We did a. State.
Okay. I will definitely reach out to them.
Sturgeon has got a trim grant before.
Okay.
Turned in for.
So there's a DNR grid resilience. Nope, that's undergrounding. Never mind. Stormwater planning. Yeah, Thriving Communities and Trim Grants. Those are the two that are going to be for the trees. Also, she mentioned America the Beautiful, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security pre-disaster mitigation, and the NEH Cultural and Community Resilience. I don't know anything about them. No, we're working through a grant right now for electric. Grants are a little time consuming, so I didn't know if you guys would be willing to help out fill out the grant paperwork. Or if you had any ideas on that. I know we're going to go for the trim grant, but I don't know anything about these other ones.
I'm not familiar with the other one too.
I know Ann is very sympathetic to our situation. Been preaching to us for years.
Yeah, she was excited when I emailed her and said that we're looking at doing. She said it's good to hear that you guys are gonna do it. So I'm gonna try and get that.
But I have to go.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. We're about the end of our
Mhm.
agenda anyway. Thanks for coming for as long as you could.
See you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing Arbor Day. That was on my, Scott and Jim were gonna do the Arbor Day for me, and it turns out, I guess they did it early in the morning instead of the afternoon, because rain was coming, but
Oh, gotcha.
I really appreciate you guys both being willing to do Arbor Day for me, and then, I guess, Jim actually did.
Yeah, he did. I got the call after the fact.
You were willing to
Oh, yeah.
do it in my place, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We've done that for a long time now, like 30-some years with the fourth graders, so.
Yeah, it's a really cool program.
I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
absent for a long time. It got to where Friday's payroll day,
Yeah,
paying them in, selling out the week, and
every year I send an email about where he did it. I didn't do it this year because I wasn't even gonna be there, but in the past few years, I've sent an email to everybody who's on the tree board to let you know when it's at, but obviously it's during the work day, so I understand that you guys normally go, but other than this year, in the past years, I've sent out an email to everybody on the tree board to let them know when it was, and it's in the paper. There's a confirmation by the mayor that says when Arbor Day is gonna be, and it's usually like 2 o'clock on, the first Friday in April is, Missouri Arbor Day. Usually. And you come, for Arbor Day, we appreciate that, so. You've been there sometime.
long,
Yeah. Anyway, that was my, appreciate it, that the Arbor Day still happened this year, so, even though I wasn't able to do it, so. Anything else that we need to talk about?
I believe so.
All right, I guess we have a motion to adjourn now. All in favor, say yes.
Oh, hold on.
Okay. I will be sure.
Second made the motion.
Have any second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
All right, we're out.
Thanks.